Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for this month's broadcast. We've got the year off to a great start. Our first luncheon featured Lisa Baird, CMO of the USOC. We also had a fantastic panel at our first B2B networking breakfast, which featured speakers from IBM, Wells Fargo, and Tel Labs. And we just finished hearing from the father of branding, David Acker, at a great luncheon presentation. So we're off to a great start. We also were able to award our Tower Awards to all of our members and their creative agencies. It was a really fun event and also featured our chapter awards, which included the Rising Star Award to Leah McKelvey of Career Builder, the New Member of the Year Award to Amanda Pollard of Tell Your Story Brand Communications, the Member of the Year Award, which went to Lynn Hazen of Lynn Hazen and Associates, and finally our Board Member of the Year, which was awarded to Jason Ferrara from If by Phone. I want to remind everyone of the three strategic pillars of the BMA and what we're all about. First is about advancement. We want to find opportunities to help you advance in your careers. The second is really about connections and finding opportunities to help you guys network and make new connections in the industry, learn from your peers, and benchmark against them so you can bring new and interesting thoughts back to your organization. And finally, it's about education, by bringing you programs that deliver thought leadership so that you have unique tools and ideas to bring back to your organization. So today we're focused on education and thought leadership around content marketing. I've asked fellow board member Belinda Hudman, who is Director of Strategy and Operations at Motorola Solutions, to join me today for that discussion. So Belinda, on November 1st, we're very excited that we have Joe Polizzi of the Content Marketing Institute joining us. As you know, Joe is the guru of content marketing and strategy, but I also know at Motorola Solutions, you guys are very focused on content marketing. So I was hoping I could ask you a few questions and get some of your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Great. So first, I know you guys have this huge focus on content at Motorola Solutions. How have you really changed your approach and structure to accommodate that? Do you look for new and different skill sets today than you have in the past?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we're doing. Is we're first looking at kind of what we want to accomplish overall and how we need to adapt our organization structure and our process to be able to achieve that. So one of the things that we're focused on delivering is a new content operations model, and it's really about being able to put the organization and the process in place to be able to understand our audiences at almost a niche level, to be able to develop content for those audiences and then distribute it out across the world, measure it, and then be able to act upon that information coming back to even to better target as we move forward. So setting up an organization around this content operations model, and then the second part of that is really hiring in different types of skills that we've seen in marketing before. And what we've seen is kind of a fusion of journalism and marketing talent. So the people that we're bringing into this content operations model really do have a pure journalistic background, and we've kind of brought them in, and they're starting to look at it with more of a marketing lens. And the reason for that is because we are becoming, as marketers, a lot tighter and more publishers, if you will. So how do we, in marketing, become or have more of a publishing mind, is really bringing people that have been in that business for a long time and bringing some of their approaches to be able to be a little bit more successful and effective in our content marketing approach.
Yeah, I think that's great because we have, almost the opposite at USG. Our infrastructure doesn't really support bringing in folks to do that, nor do we necessarily have the skill sets on our staff to do that. So we're really relying on our agency partners to help us bring in that fusion of journalism and marketing and develop the right content that makes sense for our end users.
Yep, that makes sense.
It's great. So what are some of your biggest challenges in developing and distributing content globally?
Yeah, I think, what we're trying to do, because there is such a large need for content, as we become more targeted in our approach and with our messages, the amount of content that we need to be able to be that targeted really just explodes. So one of the things that we've been trying to do is understand where content is being created, whether it's at the center, making sure that it's relevant for the market so we can actually create that content, distribute that content out. It can be localized, it can be translated, and then leveraged around the world. And identify areas around the world where content is being created that it can be actually leveraged in other areas. So being able to identify that quickly and then be able to take that and reuse it in other markets. A good example is in Australia, we have a very strong marketing team, and they're coming up with campaigns and content marketing campaigns on a regular basis that can be easily leveraged in Canada, in the United States. So trying to develop within that content operations framework the ability to be able to identify where content's being created and then quickly and easily leverage that in other places.
So I find it interesting because I think, a lot of times you think about marketing being more of a centralized function, kind of developing the framework and then letting kind of the freedom happen out in the regions, whereas really in this kind of new world, content can really come from anywhere and be repurposed anywhere across the organization, which I think is an exciting opportunity for us as marketers.
Absolutely, and you almost have to, because the amount of content that you need to be very effective is growing, right, incrementally. You have to be able to understand what's being created everywhere and how that can be reused.
Yeah. So one final question. Where do you see the future of content marketing, both from a strategic perspective as well as organizationally?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we're all experiencing in our day-to-day lives is the amount of information that you're getting is just increasing astronomically. So every day I get so many emails about things that I should be interested in or I should click on. I get phone calls, I get mail, and I think my challenge as a marketing person seeing all of this is what's relevant to me? What do I really need to look at? With the limited amount of time that I have, what should I be focused on and dig further into? I think we have the same challenges as marketers is how do we get very targeted in the content that we put out there? So I think what we are going to see is to be very effective in this day and age and as we move forward is the use of analytics and information to increase the effectiveness of our content. So using things like search terms. If somebody's coming to our site, what did they type in the search engine? What's their profile when they come into our site? What pages are they looking at? What are they downloading? So that we can use that information almost in real time to further target that content on the site to make sure that if I'm on your website and I'm looking for something, that the information that you're popping up is very relevant so that I will click, that I will gain awareness, that I will get interest, that I will click and develop that lead, and so that we can achieve our objectives. So I think it's going to be the use of information and analytics and how we automate that back very quickly to be able to serve up more relevant content. I think that's where we need to go as marketers to make sure that we continue to be effective as we move forward.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really exciting time because we've got this technology at our fingertips that enables us to measure things like we've never been able to measure before. So the opportunity to be that much more impactful and effective is definitely there for us. It's just capturing those metrics and then using them to really develop highly targeted programs, content that's relevant, et cetera. I think the other thing we're looking at our organization is how do we enable the rest of the organization to be curators of this content?
Yes.
So it's not just coming from one department, that it really is, coming from product management or customer service, et cetera, and really tapping into the power of the entire organization.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm really excited to see and hear what Joe has to say on November 1st. I think it's going to be a fantastic program. I encourage everyone to attend. You can go to our website, bmachicago.org, to register. You'll also find on the site a lot of the other exciting events that we have coming in the coming months. So thank you, and I hope to see you all in November.